September 28th, 2022 meeting of the Public Safety Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Burgess. Here. Mr. Burgess is present. Mr. Colby. Here. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Delahanty. Here. Mr. Delahanty is present. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman is present. Chairman Dondorfer.
Here.
Chairman Dondorfer is present. Ms. Hugh Smith. Ms. Hugh Smith is present. Mr. Marionetti. Here. Mr. Marionetti is present. Mr. Milne. Present. Mr. Milne is present. Ms. Vecchio. Here. Ms. Vecchio is present.
Before we begin, I would like to take a moment of silence for retired RPD officer Keith Booker, along with active Rochester firefighter Elvis Reyes, both who passed away. One passed away from his injuries while on the job as a firefighter, and the other one who was murdered on the streets of our city, along with the 60-plus other people that have been murdered so far this year. So if we can have a moment of silence, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Next item on the order is the public forum. Is there anyone signed up for public forum?
There is not.
Is there any person present who is not signed up to speak that would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, the approval of minutes. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. You have the August 23rd, 2022 and the September 13th, 2022 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
Referral number 22-0292, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services for the 2022 Paul Coverdell Forensic Science Improvement Program.
Moved by legislator Milne, seconded by legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? Legislator Milne, you have the floor.
Through the chair to the administration, do we happen to know what the reason is for the decrease in funding, especially when the backlog of cases continues to be a problem?
Through the chair, John Clark from the Crime Laboratory. It's a formula grant, and it's based on available funding through the federal government as well. So I don't know the exact reason, but if the funds weren't available in this program, that would certainly decrease the amount the crime laboratories were getting.
Thank you, sir. And a follow-up question to that, if I would, through the chair, and this may seem obvious, but is there any opportunity to increase the amount of funding received from this grant, or is that a final number?
Through the chair, that is a final number.
Thank you, sir. I yield the floor.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0293, authorize a contract with Securitas Security Services USA for security services to be provided at various Monroe County facilities and for county programs.
Move, Mr. President. Second.
Moved by legislator Colby, seconded by legislator Marionetti. Beautiful tune, by the way. Are there any questions? Legislator Colby, you have the floor.
Any other bid responses besides loss security?
Rich Tantello from the Department of Public Safety. We had 4 responses for this particular proposal.
Were they the one you selected? Were they the lowest cost bid?
They were, sir. Or I'm sorry, through the chair. My apologies, Mr. Chairman.
I would have corrected you.
Through the chair, will they be armed at any or all the locations?
Through the chair, none of the security personnel are armed.
Why not? Through the chair.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that's never been a requirement. We don't feel as though it's necessary at this particular point.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Legislator Vecchio, you have the floor.
Thank you.
Through the chairman, at this particular point, that's not part of our posture here, but certainly something we can take into consideration with a security assessment. And through the chair, if I may, my apologies, Legislator Colby. The county office building does have sheriff's deputies assigned to it, and of course, those deputies are armed.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Legislator Hugh Smith?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the administration. I guess I would just like some clarification as to why we're using in addition to our sheriff's office. Like, why isn't this the sheriff's office?
Through the chair, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Why aren't we utilizing the county sheriff's office for the security needs? Why do we need a separate contract?
Through the chair, at this particular point, it's been a long-standing position to utilize these resources. Certainly, all the legislators are aware of what the staffing issues are currently with the sheriff's office. And as we go to sometimes enhance our position, that's a conversation we have with the sheriff's office and work through their deployment of personnel. They're stretched very thin. I don't mean to speak for the sheriff's office counsels here, but I don't think you would disagree with me.
Legislator Vecchio?
Sure. So through the chair, you are correct that they are part-time deputies, typically the same personnel here on a regular basis. They're not full-time. And the sheriff's office, I believe, would indicate that even hiring part-time deputies has been a challenge for them.
Sir, just for some clarification, but there are part-time deputies that are here on a regular basis, correct?
That's correct. Yep, they're very familiar with the facility and the personnel that are working here.
Legislator Colby, did you have a question or?
Well, I was going to ask a different. As we're talking, I'm sorry, through the chair to the administration, as we're talking about those numbers and kind of follow up on a couple of these other questions, if we were to look at Monroe County Sheriff's deputies taking on these roles or whatever, and understanding we have a hiring issue, how many people are we talking about with this, with securities or Securitas, if you will, services? How many people do they employ, or how many people are doing this service for us?
Through the chair, are you referring to Securitas?
Yes, I'm
okay.
sorry. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so through the chair, they typically range somewhere in the area between 60 and 70, depending upon what our needs are. Certainly, as you can imagine, with any security assessment, if we feel as though there's a special event or other opportunities to enhance our security posture, we do that.
Thank you. And a follow up to that through the chair. If I remember correctly, the numbers with the sheriff's department is we were some 40 or 50 low. So that would be an additional 50 to 70 people that we would need, correct? And going back to my question, okay, so I understand from previous conversations, our Monroe County Sheriff's Department, we're looking to hire, and we were about, I think, 40 or 50 below the numbers we were targeting or needed. So if we were also looking at Securitas, and added that onto ours, I mean, we'd need 100 or 120 people, correct?
Through the chair, I could not comment on what the staffing is for the sheriff's office, just listening and attending these meetings. But if you're indicating we replace 70 security guards with 70 deputies.
Well, and again, I'm just looking at raw numbers, right? So I guess my point is, again, I think this is a good value for what we're doing, where we're at. I yield the floor.
Okay, any other discussion? I'm sorry, Legislator Colby, I skipped you twice. Now go ahead. You have the floor.
I don't see any, what facilities, through the chair, to the administration, what facilities, it says various facilities, what facilities are we talking about?
There are a number of county facilities that we staff personnel. We know the county office building. We know the Department of Health and Human Services. We are at the Civic Center Garage. We are at the DMVs. We certainly can give you the list of facilities that personnel are staffing for a more complete and accurate list.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I would be interested in the number of people who are staffed at the various locations, if you get that to us. The other question I have you through the chair is, this is a 4-year, or 4 extensions are available in this contract. And it looks like there's a automatic increase depending on the prevailing wage. Do we know how that's going to be applied, or is it just whatever the prevailing wage says it needs to be?
Through the chair, Peter McKeechuk from Public Safety, it's whatever prevailing wage is. It's a set rate that's given by the state
And they publish that every year?
every year, sir.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
Any other discussion? You have the floor. Does Securitas have any regular bias training that they undergo? Minister, microphone on.
Through the chair, I'm not sure about bias training, but that's certainly something I can look into and let you know about. And through the chair, no, I don't, but I can certainly get that.
Contract with the county, have there been any complaints or of improper force based on race, sexual orientation?
Through the chair, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Proper use of force during their time with the county?
Through the chair, no.
All set. Any other questions?
Through the chair, Paul Simonelli, counsel to the sheriff. I can get you the exact numbers. The road patrol is currently short approximately 15 to 17 people. That doesn't count the number of part-time openings. There's another, I believe, at least a dozen or more part-time positions that are open. The remainder of the shortages of sworn personnel are in the courts, and that's in the area of approximately 30, and in the jail, somewhere between 40 and 50, but I can get you the exact numbers tomorrow through the chair.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? One nay. Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0294, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Office of Victim Services for the Victim and Witness Assistance Program for the District Attorney's Office.
Moved by legislator Marionetti, seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0295, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services for the District Attorney's Office, the Office of the Sheriff, and the Department of Public Safety, Office of Probation and Community Corrections for the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Partnership.
Move it, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Milne. Is there any discussion? Declaring your interest. Yep. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0296, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Office of Victim Services for the Sheriff's Victims Assistance Program.
Moved by legislator Milne, seconded by legislator Colby, with the exception of declaring your interest. Any discussion on this? Legislator, you have the floor.
Thank you. My understanding that previously this program was 100% covered with no match. So has New York State revised the program award criteria?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. It's my understanding that previously this award was 100% covered, but now it has a 20% match criteria. Has New York State changed that criteria?
Through the chair, I don't have that answer in front of me. I can get that for you.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0297, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the New York State's Highway Safety Program.
Move it, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Moved by legislator Colby, seconded by legislator Marionetti. Any discussion? Showing your interest.
Noted.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm sorry. Was there a question? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Find any areas as high crash rate?
Have you identified any areas of with high crashes? What was the question?
Through the chair, I would break it into three primary locations in the county. The first and highest incidence of crashes, I would say, are in the Henrietta, Jefferson Road area. More than 50% of the crashes that occur are in that region. Another 20% occur in the Route 441 Penfield Road area. And finally, about 12% cluster in the Brockport Spencerport Road area of the county.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in, oh, I'm sorry, Legislator Hugh Smith.
Through you to the administration, is there the opportunity to move forward with some education around pedestrian and bicycle safety?
Through the chair, actually, that is part of one of the traffic grants that we're receiving this evening is education, focused on education and enforcement.
Thank you. And do you know what that education, those educational materials, how they will be shared in the community?
Well, I can't talk about the future. In the past, we've done it primarily with outreach in public forums, speaking, deputies attending different events. And that's typically how most of those funds are used for us to have folks appear at those at events in the public through the chair.
Thank you. And through the chair to the administration, so this would not be the same as, say, a public education campaign that we might be able to embark on through a community partner, such as billboards or advertising or
Through the chair, the level of these grants are fairly modest. I would tell you that if you're not aware, the sheriff's office aggressively uses social media to maximize exposure whenever any campaigns are being carried out to try to stretch the dollars as far as possible. But I don't think that's there's enough here to commit to electronic billboards or other types of marketing outreach that cost as much as those do.
Thank you. Just a comment through you, Mr. Chair, to the administration that perhaps we could reinvigorate the drive, Drive to Be Safe, I believe is the title of that campaign. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0298, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the Police Traffic Services Program.
Moved by legislator Marionetti, seconded by legislator Delahanty, declaring her interest. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0299, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Canal Corporation for the New York State Canal Corporation Marine Patrol Matching Grant Program.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Milne, declaring her interest. Is there any discussion? Sir, you have the floor.
How many deputies are assigned to this patrol?
Through the chair, this is not a full-time assignment, a specialized assignment. It's seasonally based. So during watercraft season, we'll have members of the maritime unit patrol either by boat or other water vehicle. And also there'll be some limited patrols on the perimeter of the canal, on the canal paths and the connecting trails that relate to access to the canal path.
Mr. Chair, to the administration, how many hours?
I'm just doing, through the chair, I'm just doing a rough calculation, but it appears that it would be, may be able to cover upwards of about between 400 and 500 hours of coverage during the contract or grant period.
That just for that boating season?
I'm sorry.
Is that just for the voting season?
Through the chair, I would say a vast majority of that would be during season when the canal is active.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0300, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the Child Passenger Safety Program.
Moved by legislator Milne, seconded by legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries.
Referral number 22-0301, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the Highway Safety Program.
Moved by legislator Colby, seconded by legislator Marionetti. She's declaring her interest. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0332, amend the 2022 capital budget and bond resolution 502 of 2021 to provide for an increase in funding for the Sheriff's Incident Command Post Vehicle Project.
Moved by legislator Marionetti, seconded by legislator Delahanty, declaring her interest. And is there any discussion? Legislator Del Vecchio Hoffman, you have the floor. Could you explain what the emergency vehicle is used for?
Through the chair, this vehicle is used as a command post vehicle, a remote or on-site command post vehicle for critical incidents that may occur that the sheriff has to respond to.
What's that? Any other discussion? Legislator Hugh Smith?
I just am learning so much on public safety. Could you, through you, Mr. Chair, to the administration, give me an example of what a critical incident might be?
Through the chair, recently there was, I'll give you an example, within the last 2 months, there was a report of a potential active shooter on Scottsville Road that required a response, significant response from the sheriff's office and multiple police agencies in Monroe County. That's the type of incident. Or, for instance, if there was a serious highway accident that involved a mass casualty situation. I mean, I can go on with the list, but something that requires a large and active police presence, either by just the sheriff's office or through a joint or an interagency operation.
Thank you. Very helpful. So, through you, Mr. Chair, to the administration, is this a new vehicle or a replacement vehicle or an additional vehicle or?
Through the chair, this is a new vehicle, and the reason we're here is just with the delay in procurement, pricing has changed on the vehicle and the components to build out, to customize the vehicle. And we're trying to get this project finished up before we have to deal with more price increases that are just completely out of the control of either our vendors or us.
Legislator Delvecchio Hoffman, you have the floor first.
Armored vehicle, or is this more like a home base during an emergency?
Through the chair, I heard the first part of your question. This isn't an armored vehicle. This is a vehicle for command and control of police while performing a mission.
All set? Legislator Vecchio, you have the floor.
Everything? Do we have any idea when this vehicle?
Through the chair, I think, I don't have the exact date, but I think they have a specific timeline with the vendor now for completion of the build out and delivery. I can get that for you, what the anticipated delivery date is.
Legislator Hugh Smith.
And through you to the administration. So as I understand it, this is a new vehicle that we have not previously owned with the sheriff's office before, correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay. I understand what role it might play, which all sounds great. What I'm trying to understand is why do we think we need this now when we've never had this before?
Through the chair, we have had vehicles in the past that are aged out or do not meet, the required communications and electronic digital capabilities necessary to effectively command and control the operations that it's meant to control.
Thank you, sir. So it would be fair to say this is more of, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, more of a replacement rather than some new acquisition like that we have.
That's correct, with enhanced capabilities.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this? Legislator Delahanty.
Yeah, just in hearing, other legislators here in the chamber, might be a good idea, and I'm sure we can certainly arrange this through the administration and with the president, and maybe the sheriff's office, to renew a tour with the sheriff's office, taking a look at the tools that you guys use and the mission that you guys are accomplishing, each day. And I know it was very helpful to me when I first came into the legislature. There were a lot of things I didn't know about the sheriff's department that I had an opportunity to learn. And I think it would be very beneficial for all legislators to have that opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks. I would just say in regards to this vehicle in question here today, I heard from a friend how valuable these vehicles could be when it comes to critical incidences where there are multifaceted responses, whether it be from an investigative team or the bomb squad or a missing person squad, just to have the resources available to you there. In one centralized location, it has computer systems and boards that you can direct your staff accordingly and get your resources where they need to be in a timely fashion. So with that being said, if there are no other comments or questions, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the September 28th, 2022 meeting of the Public Safety Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Public Safety Committee will be held on Tuesday, October 25th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m.